Hey guys, welcome to Bastian Time. I'm your host Bastian. Let's get to some review time. So, I've been talking about wanting to do this for a long time now, over a month, and I'm just finally getting around to it. But today we are going to talk about Adventure Time, Explore the Dungeon, because I don't know. Now, if you've been watching my videos this past year for Nintendo News, you might notice that I was very excited about this game. I kept talking about it every time any new little tiny piece of news came out. I had to talk about it because I was just so freaking excited because big surprise, Adventure Time is one of my favorite TV shows. So, and the first game was pretty gosh darn good, so I was so excited that there was going to be an overhead perspective dungeon crawl game. Now, to preface this, I must say that I'm not a super huge fan of mystery dungeon games, and I knew going into it that it was going to be a dungeon crawler mystery dungeon game, so I knew that I was already not going to like that aspect of it, and I did suspect that there would just be one tiny little hub world, which turned out to be the case. So I knew going into it that I was going to find that disappointing, and that I was going to find the fact that it was mystery dungeon, randomly generated dungeons disappointing. But what I was not expecting was how boring it was. The things that are awesome about the game are the fact that the music is pretty good, the voice acting is of course perfect because it's the same characters, same voices from the TV show, and there are a lot of humorous lines. It's pretty funny, especially when you're playing a character like Lumpy Space Princess, to have her say silly things while you're attacking enemies or finding secrets or whatever. But then after about an hour, after you've heard them repeat all of their phrases 1,200,000 times, it gets a little repetitive. And then you start to realize that the dungeons themselves are super repetitive. Now, I've only played 20 floors of the 100 floors, and I just didn't care anymore. Since they were generated randomly, it felt like there was no cohesive design about them, so I just didn't really care about going from floor to floor to floor. The only thing of interest is, after 9 floors, the 10th floor is a boss battle. And that's pretty cool, but grinding through 9 floors just to get to that interesting boss battle is not enough for me. And it's frustrating because the game could have been so much better. I mean, the whole reason why it's a mystery dungeon style game is because basically one of the complaints that they had about the first game was that people wanted to play multiplayer, and how could you do that in a side-scrolling action game like the first game was? So they decided, okay, let's go ahead and make a multiplayer game where it's like an overhead perspective. I suspect that they had 4 swords in mind when they were thinking about this, but it's just not as enjoyable as 4 swords, because at least with like 4 Sword Adventures, those dungeons are expertly designed, and there are secrets and puzzles, and it makes the multiplayer aspect important. You have to use multiple people to do things just to get through the dungeon. Not the case in the Adventure Time game, in that it doesn't matter how many people are playing. It doesn't matter. The whole point is just wandering through this maze, and then you get to the stairs that take you to the next floor. It's just not fun, which is unfortunate because Adventure Time should be fun. It should be exciting, but even down to the design, the graphics used is just super bland. It just looks like something somebody whipped up really fast in like a flash animation or something. It's Very disappointing. I can't believe that I went and bought it on release day, even though I heard all the reviews saying that it was terrible. I thought, but I love Adventure Time, it should be great. It is not. So, who knows if they're going to make a third Adventure Time game? I hope they do. I hope that they take all of that feedback that they've got, all of those bad reviews, to heart, and then create something amazing, because they could make an amazing game, even if what they really wanted to do was the overhead perspective multiplayer thing. They could do something like Crystal Chronicles for the GameCube, or they could do something like Four Swords. You know, it's just unfortunate that they wasted such a great opportunity. But again, I do have to say, playing for the first hour or so is pretty awesome, and I did that twice, actually. I played for the first 2 hours with one friend, and then I played the first hour again with another friend, and the first hour with another person who's into Adventure Time is a wonderful experience. They get the jokes, they enjoy the characters, but then after that hour or so is when it really starts to grate on your nerves that the characters are just repeating the same things over and over and over again, and the dungeons themselves just feel like an endless repetition of nonsense. So it's unfortunate. My advice to you is don't worry buying it. It's not fun. I regret having purchased it, to be honest with you. So that's it for review time. Next week, I might be doing another review time, so stay tuned for that. Bye, guys!